You're listening to the Fayetteville 411 podcast, produced by the City of Fayetteville, where you'll get information about city government and the programs and services we provide. You'll get topics of interest and an inside look into the various departments that help keep our city moving. I'm Sherri Kropp.
And I'm John Salling. Thanks for listening in to the Fayetteville 411 podcast. This podcast is just one way that the city shares information with our residents. And today we're joined by Ben Kowalczyk from the Dorothy Gilmore Therapeutic Recreation Center, and Kane, a parent of one of the individuals that takes advantage of those resources with the center, to talk about the Buddy Sports program. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Good. And now, Ben, for those that don't know, in your words, what is the Buddy Sports program?
Our Buddy Sports program is an opportunity for the individuals with cognitive or physical limitations, no matter their ability level, to participate in our sports programming. So we do basketball, football, baseball, and soccer. And a little bit of a breaking news story: we are adding Buddy Cheer for the first time this year. Yeah. So we do a lot of those, but it's just a chance for them to participate in sports just like everybody else.
What kind of age groups are we talking about for the kids involved?
So we start at 5 years old and up. Right now, it's a mixed group. So if you sign up a 5-year-old or a 50-year-old, there's a likelihood that they may be on the same team. But given our coaches' abilities and, again, our volunteers, the age difference isn't really noticed in a lot of our sports. It's a little more notable in something like football, but we do make that work. And if we ever grow large enough, the end goal would be to split the program into a youth program and an adult program. We're just not there yet.
And where are these held at? I know there's a couple of them that are at the Massey Hill Recreation Center. Are there any other facilities where the Buddy Sports takes place?
So to try to keep it simple and familiar, we do play either at the Massey Hill baseball field or Massey Hill Classical Gym, which is right across the street.
And Kate, your daughter Mara is participating in the program. How many years has she been part of it?
She has been part of it for the past 12 years. She has taken part in all of the different offered sports as well.
How important is it to have programs like this for them to be actively involved in?
It's very important to have these programs because a lot of times, my daughter in particular, and this doesn't apply to all the kids in the program, but she is nonverbal and non-ambulatory. So she's wheelchair bound, and having an opportunity, even though on paper, it looks like she wouldn't be very social, she's extremely social. So having this interaction where not only does she get to participate with people, but she does enjoy doing these activities, she just isn't able to do it on the typical team. And so to get her involved socially and then, with different members of the community, she loves it. I mean, she just immediately, she recognizes different people. She's made a lot of friends. And, just even from our perspective, being able to make those connections and understand more resources that are available. There's just a lot. The program's a lot more than just participating in sports. It's socially, developmentally, the kids, the parents, the volunteers, everybody benefits from this program. There's, even my daughter who's typical gets to meet other siblings who have siblings with special needs. So it builds that sense of community in every sense, whether it's through the kids that are participating in the program, the volunteers, or the parents who are also involved.
And from the parents' perspective, how do you feel about the safety of the programs? And did you think your daughter would ever get to participate in something like this?
It's definitely not anything I ever thought she would get to participate in. And at the time that we had found out about it, we found out through a friend at church was how we learned about it. And then, had just grown within the community. And being able to be a part of this, it's just something that you think those things aren't things that your kids will be a part of. And, when when you see all these children that are participating in different things, and your kid wants to be out there, with Mara, she might not be verbal, but she'll point to what she wants to do. And, knowing that either physically I couldn't get her to be part of it, was something that was always disappointing to me, in the sense that she was disappointed. But I've never questioned the safety of the program. I mean, the wonderful thing about it is we're right there, so we're able to, if we need to be part with the buddies. But her being able to make that connection with someone else has been very important. And between the safety of the field, the coaches who, we've been lucky enough to have the same coach throughout several different years, and they know these kids. They understand the complexities of it, and the community of parents, the participants, the volunteers, everybody just, does what they can to help make it as pleasant and obviously as safe as what's necessary. So it's wonderful to just be able to go out for that point in time and just be part of the community, instead of feeling like you're standing on the outside looking in.
And so, Ben, what does a family, parents, child have to do to get involved in the Buddy Sports program? I know there's probably some registration process to that, and is there a cost?
So they do have to register. They can register at any recreation center in the Cumberland County Recreation Department, but I would suggest, as a first-time parent coming out to register, to come to the Gilmore to get the full experience, to get all the answers that they might need for any questions they have. Like, what equipment do I need? What team will they be on? When will they play? The Gilmore Center staff knows that a little better than some of the other staff at other centers. They may know it, but if there's a quick change, we would definitely be privy to that information before anybody else. So for them to be able to do it, they just come out. It's a simple form they fill out for us. We get all the pertinent information. We need T-shirt size because that is part of the registration, things like that. And we also need to know for the coaches what to expect. So there's a little portion on there just for them to let us know, hey, this is what my child has. This is their diagnosis. They're wheelchair bound, or they're,
I know for the baseball, you've got like a field that's it's better suited for people in wheelchairs, and so talk about some of the things that make these facilities adaptive for these sports.
Sure. So like you were mentioning, with the baseball, we do play on a specialized field. It's made out of a material that is very conducive for those who are wheelchair or walker bound, so that everybody can roll. Sometimes when you're playing on grass, it makes it a little harder for those individuals. So it's not only better for them, it is also better for impact. So if there is an accident, somebody falls, instead of scraping a knee, it's a lower impact. You might have seen that material on playgrounds in the recent past, where it's like that spongy, harder material.
Right. Yeah. It's like a rubbery type thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the major thing that we do, and we also play our flag football on that field for the same reasons. But then we also adapt some of the sports. Our buddy basketball, we recently got some new goals in so that they're a little lower, and we have. The most important part of it is our buddies. They are the ones that really help us make the sport adaptive by assisting our participants and helping them out as much as they need or as little as they need. Sometimes the participants just need that partner to give them the courage to participate. So that's really what makes our program adaptive, is having those individuals partner with them.
And these are all volunteers, right?
Yes, they're all volunteers. It's the backbone of our program is our volunteers. They're the most important part, in my opinion. Some people argue some other things. But for me, it's the volunteers. They make the program. They really do. And we ask them to sacrifice a Saturday morning. We usually play from 9 a.m. to noon, no matter what sport we're doing. And that's a big deal, to give up a Saturday morning to come out and be a buddy. But I find that once they've done it once, they return every season.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I've witnessed that before. I've been out to a couple of the buddy baseball games, and the buddies are out there high-fiving the kids, and the kids look so happy, and so that's a great thing for them to do, and that's got to make them feel good.
Absolutely. I sometimes wonder if the volunteers are having more fun or if the participants are. But as long as everybody's having fun, I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
And like Kate was saying, our coaches are fantastic. We've had coaches that have been doing this since the inception of the Buddy Sports program. So close to 15 years, maybe a little more. I'm not sure the original start date. But they've been doing it for that long, and they're really, really great at what they do. So, I mean, I've got to give a shout out to the coaches in this program because they are also volunteers. They're not paid, and they put their heart into this program, and it's greatly appreciated.
And these buddies are pretty important to the program. How do they sign up?
So they come from volunteer groups all across the Fayetteville and Cumberland community. We get individuals who come out. We have large groups. We have for a football season, we'll reach out to the athletic coordinator from different schools, and they'll bring an entire football team out, which is the best experience for everybody. But we also have beta clubs. A lot of the colleges will have their fraternities and sororities come out and hang out. Methodist University has been a huge helper with that. They have their girls soccer team or women's soccer team come out and assist for our indoor soccer. Same with the baseball teams. We'll have some baseball teams from the local high schools or colleges, and they'll come out and help out. That's the biggest challenge of this, as well as the biggest reward, is finding volunteers. Especially as we've been expanding. We're playing more Saturdays, which means we need more volunteers. We also have more participants, and we try to get a one-on-one ratio with our volunteers to our participants, which is hard to do as we grow. But it is something that we are aiming to do. So if anybody is interested in volunteering, it's as simple as giving a call to the Recreation Center, the Gilmore Recreation Center. They can also contact me via email. Or, just let anybody in the department know, and they know to direct them towards us.
Sure. All right. And with the Gilmore Center that we've been talking so much about, can you tell us a little more about what it is and kind of what sets it apart?
Sure. So we're the Gilmore Adaptive Recreation Center. So although we're very similar to a lot of the other recreation centers in the department, we follow the same code of conduct and all of the same procedures and SOPs and things like that. All of our programming in our building is adapted to the community. So we have adaptive aerobics, which is aerobics, but it's a little different, it's a little slower paced. Mm-hmm. We focus more on range of motion versus heart rate and all that stuff, just so that they can be out and active and physically get an exercise in an adaptive way. Same with our Zumba and yoga. We are also starting a physical fitness class in October. And then we do other programming that's, like I said, it's very similar to everywhere else. We have cooking and baking, only we work with them. We let them get their hands in there. And it's a learning experience as well as a social one for them. And our facility is, like I said, caters to that community. So we have ramps to everywhere you need to go to in the building, which is great. We have larger restrooms so that you can get in and out easier if you're wheelchair bound or, have other assistance for walking. It's easier to get in and out of where you need to be. And
you have like a sensory room over there as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say our fitness room is adapted so that all of the equipment can be used by someone wheelchair bound or, who just needs assistance moving in and out. And then, of course, the sensory room is the big highlight that it's exactly what it sounds like if you've never heard of a sensory room before. It's a quiet space with a lot of lights and sounds that are controlled by the individual to a degree so that they can get comfortable. And if they're just, having a hard time in the center, they can go there, take a breath, and it's just a place where they feel like they're in control and they can recenter themselves.
And you've got some fantastic activities that go on over there. I know the couple of times that I've been over there doing a little bit of work. they're painting Easter eggs, and they're, carving pumpkins, and they've got dances. I know the dances you mentioned earlier was a big hit for everybody there.
Yeah, I think the dances are by far the most popular, but
Yeah.
we do a lot of programming that focus on social interaction, like the social club we have on Wednesdays. That's where you probably saw them doing the painting. We try to do one craft a day there. But we also have our art classes, which is great. It helps them not only socialize, but expand their art skills. And I will tell you, I've had to fill in for that art class once or twice. The instructor had to call out, and I might as well have been taking the class because a lot of them are so talented and so skilled. I just felt silly trying to teach them anything. But we do have a lot of programs that are adjusted slightly however it needs to be so that everybody, no matter their ability level, can participate. But we're the only recreation center that is adaptive that I'm aware of.
Okay. And Kate, how often are you and Mara out there?
Well, she is currently still in high school, so we are out there at a lot of the weekend events, such as buddy sports, and then some of the evening events. We participate in any of the dances that we're able to because Mara absolutely loves music. So that is something that any chance we get, we're out there for those different events. And, recently here at the end of summer, we participated at the end of summer cookout splash pad day, and, had a great time at that as well. Yeah. If I could also just bring up in regards to the volunteers, I think one of the things is if a lot of times when you get these volunteers out, and especially the teens, I watch them come up, and sometimes with my Mara especially, she's in a wheelchair. It can seem a little bit intimidating for somebody who's not aware. I think the most amazing thing for me to see is by the end of the game, they get how, she might not be able to carry on a conversation and she might not be, but then they see the joy. And to see some of these competitive athletes or, some of the adults that come out to volunteer that, your idea of going into it as sports, I like to participate in sports myself. My idea of sports when I run my own race versus running a race pushing Mara, when I push it with Mara, I see the joy in everything. It's not just about winning. It's not just about, how you get there, but it's just stepping back and understanding what it feels like to be part of something and to watch these buddies walk away from the program, dancing with the kids when, they're supposed to be running in for a touchdown, but they stop and they decide they want to go a totally different direction. In the beginning, they might try to get them back on track, and they still try to get them back on track, but then they understand that it's the value in what it means to them, and it's the value into the joy, and that's what this is all about. It's about community. Mm-hmm. It's about being a part of something. And I think for me, seeing the volunteers repeatedly come back, sometimes, remembering Mara when I don't even remember the volunteer, or people that just the impact of it to them. You see them come back and you see them do the things, and it's just such a joyful thing to watch. And it's one of those things where when you see some of these kids, whether they're, sensory issues, things like that, where it's a struggle for them, but then they have that moment where they participate in it. And it brings that sense of community and that sense of belonging that a lot of times these parents, I also encourage parents that are listening. Just because your child may not want to participate in different things, come out. See if it's something that might work for you and might work for your family, and you might make that connection with someone that understands what you're going through. So there's so much value in it, and as we had mentioned earlier, it's not just for the participants, it's not just for the volunteers, but anybody that gets involved with it really does walk away with something.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I'm
definitely.
hearing. It's so important. The
Yeah.
kids are being able to participate. They're building friendships and those bonds. And for the parents, they're getting to meet and bond with other people that are going through some of the same things that they go through. And for the volunteers, I would imagine they have to have a great sense of pride, being able to help the kids and things like that. So it's just an all-around wonderful program. It really is. Ben, is there anything else that you would want to add to the Buddy Sports programs or any of the activities that happen over at the Gilmore Adaptive Recreation Center?
I just think it's important for parents. I'm kind of piggybacking off what Kate said there about it's important for them to come out and just give it a try and join the community. I've seen both in the center and in our Buddy Sports program individuals who the parents are saying, my kid, this isn't going to work for my kid. They're autistic, they're nonverbal, they don't do well with others. I've seen those parents bring them out once or twice, and very slowly you start to see the participant just starts to open up. That shell comes off, they start to expand, they socialize, and the parents are blown away. And they're like, I never would have thought in a million years that this could happen. And it's just getting them into that rhythm, getting them used to being around other people and having a place where they fit in. And everyone around them is not, nobody's looking at them because everybody is equal there. And it's just a great place for them to shed that shell and be themselves.
And you can't put a dollar sign on that. That's awesome. And we have events coming up in end of October here.
Sure. Like I said, we have our Halloween dance. Very excited about that. We are also doing our monthly community trip for October. We're going to be going to a scary movie, semi-scary movie.
Sure.
And then we're going to go ahead and get dinner, and we'll head back. We are also starting registration for our Buddy Basketball program starting October 1st, and for the first time ever, our Buddy Cheer program starting October 1st.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for this episode of the Fayetteville 411. The Fayetteville 411 is one of several podcasts that the city produces for our podcast channel, Radio Fayetteville, as we provide timely and informative updates every week on a variety of topics related to the city of Fayetteville. Be sure to subscribe to Radio Fayetteville on Apple iTunes, the iTunes podcast app, as well as the Google Play Music podcast portal.
You can also listen to every podcast that Radio Fayetteville has to offer by downloading the Fay TV streaming app, available on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV. You can view all of our video content by visiting faytv.net. And to get information about city services, go to our webpage at fayettevillenc.gov. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you,
me.
guys.
Thank you.